Welcome to Modoc County. This sits at the very northeastern edge of California, and it's wide open out here. Some fun facts about Modoc County. The population of the entire county is only 8,700 people. And that makes it the third least populous county in the entire state of California. This area of California is rich in Native American history. The county was named after the Modoc tribe of Native Americans who used to call this land home. And there's one spot in particular that I'm going to today. I don't know if you can see it on this camera. There is rocky outcrop way across the valley here. And that area is called Petroglyph Point. And it's a collection of over 5,000 rock carvings and Native American rock art. It's a bit windy, so I hope you can hear this. So join me as we go discover Petroglyph Point. Okay, I think this trail leads to the top of the hill here, and that must be where the petroglyphs are. And apparently this is one of the largest panels of Native American rock art in the United States. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, over 5,000 individual carvings. All of this flat land that you see around me used to be one giant lake back when the Modoc people lived here. The Modoc story of creation says that the creator of the world, named Kintpuash, if I'm pronouncing that right, looked around and saw nothing but lake and water. So he decided he needed to add to that. So he scooped up mud and soil from the bottom of the lake and built the mountains and the trees and the grasslands that you see around me. And when he finished his work, he dug a hole in the bottom of the lake and fell asleep. And the rock that I'm standing on now, Petroglyph Point, is the area where Kintpuash dug his hole and left a mound on top of where he slept as a reminder of the world that he created. So I've been wandering around up here at Petroglyph Point for a bit now, and there's one thing missing that I was expecting. I haven't seen any petroglyphs yet, not a single one. So I think I'm in the wrong spot. There was a trail that led up here, but it must not be the right trail, because I'm not seeing anything that could resemble petroglyphs up here. So below me there's a flat rock wall, and I think that's where all the petroglyphs are. So we're gonna have to go down there and check it out. Okay, we found the actual Petroglyph Point. Here it is. And when the Native Americans were here, carving their symbols into the rock faces, this whole area would have been underwater. So imagine them rowing their canoes all the way out here to this sacred island in the middle of a massive lake. These petroglyphs run the entire length of this rock wall, it looks like. There's over 5,000 individual carvings. These are different than a lot of other Native American carvings because most of the petroglyphs are geometric patterns, shapes, and symbols rather than pictures of animals or humans. Unfortunately, over the years, vandalism has been a big problem here. People come out here and carve their names into the rocks, or make fake carvings, make a stupid little heart with initials in them. So they had to put this barbed wire fence up here to keep people out and preserve the ancient petroglyphs here. Can't get up close to them, but you can get close enough to see them. As you're walking along, it gets kind of hard to determine what's real and what's the fake vandalism. Some of them are pretty obvious when it's just somebody's name, but other ones can be a little tricky. So they got these signs here. And these show you what the real petroglyphs should look like compared to what the fake ones are. So far, none of these petroglyphs have been translated. No one knows their true meaning. And their age is even uncertain. It's thought to be between 1,500 years old all the way up to 6,000 years old for some of the oldest ones. To put that into context, pyramids of Egypt and Stonehenge are between 4,000 to 5,000 years old. So at the same time the Egyptians were building the Great Pyramid of Giza, there could have been Modoc Native Americans right here carving these petroglyphs into the wall. Who knows how much knowledge was lost when much of the Modoc tribe were shipped to the reservation camps in Oklahoma. There may have been someone who understood what these symbols meant. Here's where the gated area ends, and you can actually get close to some of these. But you can see just the amount of vandalism that's on the rocks here. You got people's names, and then not only carved into blank areas of the rock, but then it looks like you have some names carved over what might be actual ancient petroglyphs. Apparently they thought this area was too far gone. As I mentioned before, the flat area that you see all around Petroglyph Point used to be one giant lake. And that was up until almost recent times, the late 1800s, when European settlers made their way out here and they decided they wanted this land. So they round up all of the local Modoc tribe that they can find, and they ship them off a few thousand miles away to Oklahoma, and they claim the land for their own. And after years and years of irrigating the crop fields and periods of drought, the waters of the lake receded, and there's just a small portion, about 10 to 15% of the lake is left today. not all of the Modoc tribe were captured and shipped off to Oklahoma. A few decided to stay and fight for their homeland. One of their leaders led a band of 150 Modoc, including 52 warriors, to an area not too far from here called the Lava Beds. And this is an almost natural fortress of volcanic rock where he could put up a fight against the United States Army. And this man's name, forgive me because I'm not pronouncing this right, but his name was Kintpuash, or as the white men called him, Captain Jack. And Captain Jack's Stronghold, as it later became known, is just about 7 miles down the road here. So that's going to be our next stop, off to Captain Jack's Stronghold. Okay, here we are at the entrance to Captain Jack's Stronghold. Not sure how far in here we have to go to get to the actual stronghold, but we'll see. These walls make the entrance to the fortress here at Captain Jack's Stronghold. Spots like this were where Modoc warriors would post up with their rifles. You could get a really good view of the landscape and any incoming soldiers, any enemies out there. Modocs spent the coldest months of winter in this place, so they had to make do with whatever shelter they could. Use caves like this to get out of the cold and the snow. Just barely big enough for 1 or 2 people to snuggle in there. If you look off in the distance, you can see some man-made rock structures. Standing next to one here right now. These were used as outposts and snipers' nests. The Modocs weren't just armed with bow and arrow, but they had rifles too. And on January 17th, 1873, the U.S. Army launched an attack on Captain Jack's Stronghold. An area that the Army barely even knew, but Kintpuash and his army knew very well. The United States Army suffered 35 casualties after the battle was over, while on the Modoc side, there was 0 casualties. This area here would have been one of Captain Jack's command posts. We just walked through this rock trench over here, and then you've got another one on this side, which allowed for access to troops on either side of the stronghold. And these two trenches are the only way to access this area. This is one of the main caves here that would have provided shelter for Captain Jack and the families. It wasn't just soldiers staying here. There were Modoc families and women and children. So during the battles, during the harsh winter months, they needed shelter. So this is a pretty large cave. It would have been somewhat safe in. And it said this flat rock right here was a sort of speaker's platform for Kintpuash to give commands to his army and inspire his troops. Just walking around here for a few minutes, you can see how difficult it would be to attack a place like this. Can't really walk in a straight line anywhere. There's only a few paths you can take, and what might look like something just a short distance away actually takes a long time to get there, because you either have to go up and over these lava tubes or follow the paths all the way around. But Kintpuash and his warriors couldn't hold out in the lava beds forever. So they agreed to attend a peace meeting with the United States Army. But before this meeting, Kintpuash's advisors suggested that if he were to kill the leader of the United States Army, that would force the US to leave, and the Modocs would reclaim their homeland. So, at the peace meeting, Kintpuash shot and killed a United States general. He was arrested and later executed. And so ends the legend of Captain Jack.